quality is so good. Having a mat or a green like this is definitely gonna help your game, but don't just mindlessly hit putts. Really think about what it's gonna be like. We wanna simulate. Honestly, the first thing that really impressed me with the mat is just the material. It is so different than most putting mats. I wouldn't even call this a putting mat. It's more like a putting green that you can easily roll up, but it just rolls so good. I mean, it says between a 9 and 11 on the stimp, and I fully believe that. Did you know that putting is 30% or more of all shots during the round? If you are not taking your putting seriously and practicing at home or at the pool or wherever you want, you are losing shots. So today I want to take you through my PrimePutt mat review. It's really not a mat. This is like a portable indoor green. I think it's one of the best investments you can make in your game, and I'm going to share why today, some pros, some cons, some training aids I use with it, and some drills that you can use so that way you're making the most of your practice routine. Hey, if you're new to the channel, thanks so much for being here. My name is Michael Leonard. I'm the creator of Wicked Smart Golf, and this is my dog and #1 employee, Munchie. All right, so first let's start off with what's included. So the box is super simple. It just comes with a super heavy duty mat. It comes with a backstop, which I'll show you how to set up. Whoop. And 3 awesome cups. Now these are one of the top reasons I absolutely love this thing, but let's start with the mat itself, because this is what makes it different than any other one. This thing is heavy. I am just like, you can see that bicep pump. I mean, just absolutely huge. This thing is high quality. Now that's probably the first thing you'll realize is this is not some just generic green carpet that's saying it's a putting mat. This is a mobile putting green, because it is really cool because you can easily take it with you, as you're gonna see in just a second. But what I really like about it is that it is such a good material that it's very, very similar to what the golf course is all about. It rolls in between a 9 and 11, and I think that's perfect because most courses are about a 9 to 10. If you're playing really nice country clubs, they might go a little bit more than that, but in general, most of us are just playing municipal courses that are on that 9 to 10 on the Stimpmeter. And so it's gonna help you, one, practice more efficiently. I've used some different putting mats where they're like an 11 or 12, and it's just unrealistic. Like, I'm not gonna have that on most golf courses, unfortunately. So it really didn't make any sense for some of those other ones. Second thing is that it is mobile. So I'm gonna take this thing to my pool here in just a few so we can putt outdoors, get outside a little bit. It's finally not scorched earth here in Arizona, so we can go outside. It's a little bit heavy, so it's not the most mobile, but it's worth it because this thing is so good, and I don't think most people are gonna be moving it around. I think you'll either have it in your home or your office, or maybe some other family room, but in case you do want to take it somewhere, you absolutely can. Next thing is the backstop. So again, if you hit a putt a little bit long, it'll still capture it. Plus the balls actually rest right here if you do want to have some extra ones. Now the next part I really like is these amazing cups that come with it. These are patented technology that they have to make it very similar to what it's like on the actual putting green. Now most putting greens don't even come with anything. You just kind of are putting to a spot or a dot. Not that useful. However, this one you actually get lip outs if you hit it too hard, and it's very realistic to what it's like on the golf course. Plus, depending on the size you get, you either have 1 or 3, and again, it's very, very realistic. They just slide right in. They're easy to take out. Plus, they do come with some coverings as well, so if you only want to have 1 instead of 3 or 2 instead of 3, you can put some grass coverings, and it looks amazing. What do you think? You impressed?
I am quite impressed.
Another benefit to this is that it has a very clean setup. It just looks good. So if you do want to have it at your office, or if you want to have it in a family room where you're going to have people coming over, it just looks really good. It doesn't look like some cheap mat. Other benefit is that they have markings at 3 feet, so you actually can kind of measure where you're at. I recommend most people focusing on that 3 to 6 foot range, because statistically that is the lowest hanging fruit to help you shoot lower scores every single round. So I try and hit a lot of 3 footers, a lot of 4 footers, a lot of 5 and 6 footers. Now this is a 3x9 model, so I can practice a little bit longer as well, but I think the majority of people should be spending time in that 3 to 6 foot range. If you're making 50 or 100 of those every single day, you're gonna have a ton of confidence when you get to the golf course. So one thing I love about it too is that it rolls up so easy. You don't have to worry about leaving it somewhere. Again, some days I get bored working in my office all day, so I'll just bring it out here, work on my putting outside, get a little sun. And it's really nice too because unlike the other ones that are carpet, it really doesn't get any dog hair. So if you guys do have any dogs, I have a corgi, as you can see, and I love her to death, but man, if I leave my putting mat out, it gets ruined. Have not found that. She's actually laid on this thing and called it home, and have not had any incidents, knock on some wood, but it doesn't seem to collect hair as well either. So it's, just kind of something else. You don't have to really worry about vacuuming it or maintaining it nearly as much as others. Another perk is that it does work on different surfaces. So this is more like kind of tile, obviously outside. And it also works on carpet. They do recommend having a standing mat just because it will be a little bit higher, which you can buy separately. And then I just use it inside, as you guys saw, with hardwood floor. So it does work on multiple surfaces, which is definitely a perk because some of them are really only going to be good on that hardwood. Additionally, if you do want the PrimePutt mat, the affiliate link is going to be down in the description. I appreciate that. And again, we'll help continue to grow this channel so we can give you guys the best content possible. So one of the best ways I like to use this mat, or really anytime you're practicing at home, is working on your routine, because so many of us forget about how important the routine is and we just kind of go automatically. But when you have a dialed in routine, it's gonna have so much more confidence for you on the golf course. So here's kind of my routine and how I'd practice it. So again, I'm doing my practice swings behind the golf ball. I go back here and this is kind of my trigger. So it's like once I wipe the face, it's like, and then I take a deep breath and then I walk in. And then I'm over it. I make sure I'm aligned. One more look, and then I go. So you really can't practice your routine enough. I think that having a mat or a green like this is definitely gonna help your game, but don't just mindlessly hit putts. Really think about what it's gonna be like. We wanna simulate golf in practice versus what is gonna happen on the course. So again, make sure your timing is the same, your movements are the same. So I'm here, take my breath, walk in, make sure I'm looking good here. Yep, feet are good. One more look at the target. As soon as my head comes back, I go. And so I think that mixing it up with the training aids is great. Mixing it up with different length putts is great. But there's some 6-footers. Those are really the low-hanging fruit, but please do not neglect the importance of a good pre-shot putting routine, because when you're dialed like this and you actually practice the right way, when you go to the golf course, it's gonna make a huge difference. Another big perk is that it does come in 3 different sizes. So the smallest is 1.5 by 9 feet. This is the 3 by 9. So whether you're in an apartment, a condo, a house, it doesn't really matter. They have 4 different sizes that are gonna help you putt like a pro. And another huge benefit is it does work with training aids. So I use this with the Y Golf putting thing. I use it with putting mirrors. I use it with a different aid to help with my stroke. And it's very easy to use. It's not gonna hurt this material. Again, very heavy duty. So again, make sure you're using some training aids, not all the time, but it's a good way to kind of start the session. Just make sure, hey, fundamentals are dialed, get my start line on point, because if our start line gets off, everything is going to go downhill. So make sure you're getting your eyes in the right position, make sure your shoulders are aligned, and we just want to set up to it, do some block practice at the beginning, and then you're going to be dialed. And it's one of those ways that you're actually making sure that you're getting better. So yes, I recommend investing in indoor putting green, but also making sure that you're not developing any bad habits. When you use a training aid like this, it's gonna be easy to make sure your eyes are in the right position, your alignment's dialed, and hopefully you're just getting a solid setup that's gonna translate to the golf course. So what about the downsides? There are just a couple, but I mean, there's gonna be downsides with any kind of training aid or putting mat. One of them is that if you buy the smallest model, your feet are probably gonna be off of it. So it's not gonna be quite as helpful, because maybe half your foot's gonna be on, half your foot's gonna be off. I don't really have that with the 3-foot model. However, you can have that if you're putting towards that far left cup. So that's why I usually just have the grass covering on that one, and then I just putt towards the middle or the right one. Again, not that big of a deal, but just something to note. The only other really downside that I could think of was just the price. It is on the higher side, but I really challenge you to think of it more like an investment in your game. As I mentioned earlier, I probably had at least 5 different putting mats over the years, and most of them just collected dust, or I gave them away because I was just never using them. So yes, it is a little bit of a higher price tag, but it should last a long, long time. Like I mentioned, it's easy to roll up. You can store it when you're not using it, so it should last. The material is really high quality, and again, you're not gonna get any of those creases that are gonna affect the roll of it. So it should last a long time, and never forget, putting is 30% or more of all shots that happen during the round. So we wanna make sure that you're using this consistently. It's not just a one-time thing, and then all of a sudden my putting's gonna get better. Whenever you're watching TV, watching your favorite show, watching the games, throw out the putting mat, start working on your game, and there's no doubt it can have a huge impact on helping you play wicked smart golf.